Tonight, the tragic twist in the death of a Canadian girl in New York. The Montreal father charged with murder.
He fabricated the initial report.
How police untangled an alleged web of lies. Remembering a beloved star of The Cosby Show.
Look at these sleeves. My arms are the same length. Where are my sleeves?
The shocking death of Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Plus, high-stakes meetings in Ontario's cottage country.
We need to be at the table.
Canada's premiers prepare for the Prime Minister as the trade deal deadline ticks down.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina. Reporting tonight, Heather Wright.
Good evening. What began as an Amber Alert is now a murder investigation after the body of 9-year-old Melina Fratolin was found in a shallow pond in upstate New York. She had traveled from Montreal to New York with her father, who initially told police his daughter was abducted. He now faces a second-degree murder charge. CTV's Quebec Bureau Chief Geneviève Beauchemin on what we know so far.
Luciano Fratolin appeared in court in New York State, charged in the murder of his young daughter, but also of concealing her remains. This after a massive search for the 9-year-old that ended yesterday with the discovery of Melina Fratolin's body in a shallow pond.
He fabricated the initial report of the abduction.
Police laid out what they say is the timeline of the young girl's last days. On July 11th, Melina and her father crossed legally into the United States for a planned vacation. They visited spots in Connecticut and traveled to New York City together. Police say that Melina's parents are estranged, that her mother in Montreal has custody.
She had no concerns for her daughter's safety while she was with him. She knew that he was taking her on this trip.
On July 19th, father and daughter were seen on surveillance video in Saratoga Springs, New York. An hour later, at about 6:30 p.m., Melina spoke to her mother by phone, telling her she was en route back home. At 10 p.m., New York police say a call comes in to 911.
The 9-year-old daughter was possibly abducted in a white van.
Authorities triggered an Amber Alert. The next day, law enforcement officers found a body. This an hour's drive from Lake George in a pond in Ticonderoga, New York. Fratolin is an entrepreneur who, according to a company website, founded a coffee business. Online, he describes his daughter as the light of his life and his inspiration. Federico Sanchez first met Fratolin at a Montreal coffee shop years ago. They chatted on a few occasions.
You know, exchanging anecdotes with each other and travel, family stories as we usually do. And that's how I knew him. So I never knew him as anyone that would give us any hint or any idea that he could become violent.
Fratolin pleaded not guilty. He's expected to be back in court in New York State on Friday. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Police are investigating the murder of a 15-year-old boy who was stabbed to death in Vancouver.
Whenever somebody dies, it's a tragedy and it's an incredible impact on that person's family, friends, and community. And that tragedy and that impact is magnified when we're talking about somebody who's still a child, in this case, a 15-year-old boy.
Police say the murder happened Saturday in Robson Square shortly before midnight. It was a busy evening as many were out watching a fireworks show. No arrests have been made. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, best known for playing Theo Huxtable on the 80s sitcom The Cosby Show, has died in an accidental drowning in Costa Rica.
Is this the shirt I paid $30 for? Is this the shirt they're supposed to think is a Gordon Gartrell? Ask me the question again.
A generation watched Warner grow up as the relatable son of the TV family, a role that earned him an Emmy nomination. He went on to star in many other projects and won a Grammy in 2015. Authorities say he was caught by a riptide. Bystanders pulled him from the water, but he could not be saved. Co-stars and friends are paying tribute to the actor. Tracy Ellis Ross, Warner's wife on the sitcom Between the Lines, writing, "You made the world a brighter place. I'm so sorry for this unimaginable loss." Malcolm-Jamal Warner was 54 years old. Canada's premiers are in Ontario cottage country tonight as high-stakes meetings got underway today focused on trade and tariffs. Prime Minister Mark Carney is set to join the premiers tomorrow with the deadline to reach a trade deal with the United States quickly approaching. CTV's Rachel Aiello reports from Huntsville.
Premiers rolled into this Muskoka resort today for their annual Summer Council of the Federation meeting. The get-together comes at a critical time.
Right now, our economy in all Canada suffers because of the uncertainty.
Canada is facing intensifying U.S. tariff pressure and a looming deadline to reach a new trade deal.
We need to be at the table, and we need to work through what is a very erratic stance coming from the President of the United States.
And premiers have come to cottage country looking for new ways to drive prosperity on this side of the border.
We have to diversify our trade.
And to do that, Canada needs to build.
We have to start building pipelines out west, east, north, and south. We have to unleash Canada, unleash Canadian industry, resources.
So today, premiers met with Indigenous leaders to talk about moving major new nation-building potential pipeline or mineral extraction projects forward. But their push to find a way to get to a yes faster, while still ensuring First Nations leaders are consulted, was met with some pushback.
They're pretty much set in their ways, and somehow we're supposed to believe them that things will be okay. And we're saying, no, we don't believe it.
It's always tough conversations, but it's so important that, that we find a different way in this country.
Where they did agree is on the need for Indigenous involvement.
We know if we want to get projects done quickly, the projects have to have strong Indigenous partnerships.
I'm saddened that it got off on a wrong foot with the federal government, but I think that's the intention of everyone around that table.
Tomorrow, Prime Minister Mark Carney will join the premiers. He's expected to brief them on how close federal officials are to securing a trade deal with U.S. President Donald Trump, and will likely face some pointed questions about what happens if an agreement isn't reached by August 1st. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Huntsville, Ontario.
And before he heads to Muskoka, Mark Carney met with a group of U.S. senators who traveled to Ottawa in an attempt to find common ground in this ongoing trade war. Here's CTV's Mike Lecouture.
Looking forward to it. The group of senators say they came to build bridges, not to throw wrenches, as Canada and the U.S. attempt to hammer out a trade agreement. And they felt positive following back-to-back meetings with Prime Minister Mark Carney and Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand.
She says we have a framework within that we wish to operate. We have the frame, we need to make it work.
The senators said they discussed contentious issues like the digital services tax, which Canada paused, and the decades-long dispute over Canadian softwood lumber exports.
I think we now have a clear idea of how to proceed, and that's to build around some sort of quota arrangement. And the Prime Minister said he was open to that.
How'd it go? It was good. Good meeting? It was good. It was a very good meeting. Thank you very much.
Carney was tight-lipped after the 45-minute meeting, but the minister in charge of trade with the U.S. was upbeat before sitting down with the same group of senators.
Do you think we're going to get a deal with the United States?
Hope so.
Can we get a deal that doesn't include tariffs on them?
We're not going to discuss all this stuff.
Now, asked if they believe a tariff-free deal is possible, Senator Murkowski said that's up to negotiators.
We all want to get to August 1st and beyond with a resolve that works for Canada and works for the United States.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that deadline and the threat of a 35% surtax will help focus the minds of trading partners.
I would think that a higher tariff level will put more pressure on those countries to come with better agreements.
To get that done, senior Canadian officials, including Carney's new chief of staff, Marc-André Blanchard, were in Washington last week, and Minister LeBlanc is heading there this week. Heather?
CTV's Mike Lecouture. Thanks, Mike. Automaker Stellantis has reported nearly $500 million losses for the first half of this year due to tariffs, a number that could rise, and it may be a harbinger of what's ahead for the rest of the auto sector. Here's CTV's John Venevali-Rao on the anxiety of the industry and the future of auto production in Canada.
Since last year, this Stellantis auto plant in Brampton, Ontario, has been shut down for retooling that was paused back in February and is yet to resume. And now, with word of the company's financial losses, in part related to tariffs, the workers are understandably worried.
Emotionally, it's very hard because there's a lot of uncertainty. I mean, we got 3,000 members in that Brampton assembly plant, 1,000 plus members that supply that plant and the parts supplier base.
Stellantis, which is known for brands like Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Fiat, reporting that the U.S. president's auto tariffs have so far cost the company $480 million Canadian, as it cut vehicle shipments and some production. And the chief financial officer says the full-year tariff impact could be as much as $2.4 billion.
It won't help them, that's for sure. And Stellantis is already in a decent spot of trouble. They've run into all kinds of issues, particularly in the North American market.
The company has been struggling with slow sales and restructuring costs, and a new CEO was brought in 2 months ago after the previous one resigned under pressure. At Stellantis' Windsor, Ontario plant, operations were shut down for several weeks earlier this year, and workers were supposed to return to the Brampton plant by the end of this year, but the retooling remains on hold. Still, Stellantis continues to say it does not change our previously announced investment plans for Brampton.
A world with tariffs is unacceptable for us. A world with tariffs puts our plant in a vulnerable position, even more so than it is now. And not only for our plant, but all of Southern Ontario and the whole auto industry.
And despite that hefty tariff cost, the union rep remains confident the Brampton plant will make vehicles again, although when is not clear. John Venevalley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Canada Post workers are voting on the Crown Corporation's latest contract offer, which includes wage hikes of about 13% over 4 years, but also calls for more part-time workers. Voting is open until August 1st.
The consequences of a whereabouts violation range from a period of ineligibility from 2 years down to 1 year.
Swim star Penny Alexiak, one of Canada's most decorated Olympians, has been accused of an anti-doping violation for failing to report her whereabouts for drug testing. She has accepted a voluntary suspension until the matter is settled and says she is a clean athlete. More than 5 million swimming pools sold in the U.S. and Canada have been recalled after 9 children, all under the age of 3, died in drownings. U.S. officials listing pools from brands such as Bestway, Coleman, Intex, and Poly Group. The small children died by using the outside compression straps to get into the pools. Impacted customers should call immediately. They will be shipped a free repair kit. The White House has removed the Wall Street Journal from the press pool for the president's upcoming trip to Scotland, following the newspaper's report detailing bombshell allegations on Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. CTV's Washington bureau chief Joy Malbon now on the growing scandal capturing global attention.
The U.S. president should be celebrating his political wins. Instead, he's struggling to distract from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, posting phony AI pictures of Barack Obama being arrested, showing Democrats behind bars, and posting people doing, well, bizarre things. Anything, it seems, to change what's become a national obsession over the convicted sex offender who preyed on young women and his so-called client list.
Jeffrey Epstein was a friend of Donald Trump. Jeffrey Epstein was arrested during the Trump administration. And the Trump administration is running scared. What are they hiding from the American people? Release the files.
Trump ordered the Justice Department to request all grand jury testimony related to Epstein, pending a judge's approval and the impact on Epstein's victims.
The president has said if the Department of Justice and the FBI want to move forward with releasing any further credible evidence, they should do so. As to why they have or have not or will, you should ask the FBI about that.
The New York Times reported Trump might appear in the Epstein files after an accuser says she told the FBI twice about an encounter with Trump. The president also suing the Wall Street Journal for alleging Trump drew a hand-drawn naked woman in a birthday letter to Epstein in 2003. Trump denies it. One way to get to the bottom of it, says Epstein's former lawyer, call his co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving prison time, to testify.
She is the Rosetta Stone. She knows everything. She arranged every single trip.
Some Republicans joined Democrats demanding the release of all the Epstein files, but the Speaker says there'll be no vote on that before lawmakers recess for the summer. Heather?
All right, Joy Malbon in Washington. Thanks, Joy. A close call in the skies over North Dakota forced a Delta flight to make a quick dodge to avoid a midair collision.
Looked over and saw the airplane that was kind of coming on a converging course with us. Sorry about the aggressive maneuver. It caught me by surprise. This is not normal at all.
The pilot of the passenger jet heading from Minneapolis to North Dakota apologizing for the move after a B-52, the biggest bomber in the U.S. Air Force, performed a flyover close by. The pilot claims he didn't get a heads up about the air traffic.
All of a sudden, we just kind of jerk really hard to the right. He just kept taking more turns and more turns, and he gets on the announcement and says, like, "I'm sorry, everybody. I'll explain everything once we've landed safely."
It's still not clear how close the two planes came to each other. The Air Force is investigating the incident. An Air Force training jet crashed into a college campus in Bangladesh's capital, killing at least 19 people, including the pilot and several students. More than 150 others were also injured. Officials say there was a mechanical failure shortly after takeoff. Canada, Britain, and 26 other countries released a joint statement today calling for an immediate end to the war in Gaza. It comes a day after at least 100 people were killed trying to get aid, according to the Hamas-run Health Authority. Israel rejected the statement, and today its troops pushed deeper into parts of Gaza City. Coming up, on the front lines of the opioid crisis.
I don't know if it's for my brother, but I'm going to say it is.
The new push to prevent overdose deaths. Plus, what happened to the Calgary couple stalked by a grizzly. More than 7,000 Canadians died of an opioid overdose last year, nearly 3/4 of those deaths involving fentanyl. Canada's health minister calls it a national crisis and today announced funding for new programs in Atlantic Canada. CTV's Sarah Plowman has more.
I don't know if it's for my brother, but I'm going to say it is.
Her brother, Brody LeBlanc, who died in December, just 33.
My brother didn't die of a fentanyl overdose, but we believe that he was taking fentanyl at the time and he actually froze to death.
Whoever wrote his name left the gift of his memory. His sister runs the community kitchen inside. She's also a Fredericton City councillor.
He had his issues and his struggles, but I loved him dearly. My whole family loved him dearly. And I think there's a lot of Brodies out there.
Last year in Canada, about 20 people died each day of an opioid overdose. Fewer than the year before, but still a crisis. In New Brunswick, the opioid deaths involving fentanyl specifically reached an all-time high. In a bid to support those on the front lines, Ottawa is spending nearly $3 million on 4 programs in Atlantic Canada.
Because this is a national crisis, and we are talking about people.
In Fredericton, more than $500,000 will fund this outreach van and its workers. They patrol streets and parks at night and offer help to anyone, everyone.
Just to be able to get them what they need. Of course, like we said, naloxone's a big part of it. Even just simple as a conversation.
The team is often called in by bylaw officers. Their presence can free up emergency services for other calls.
There's so many gaps, and it's like you're not going to be able to fill them all, but like this is a really good start.
Having people in place overnight might have saved my brother and will save other people.
LeBlanc also says more needs to be done, especially around housing and getting people housed, noting people need support and stability if they're to overcome addiction. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
A drop in wind and an increase in humidity are credited with slowing the growth of a wildfire on the northeast coast of Newfoundland. An evacuation order for Musgrave Harbour remains in effect as the fire burns about 2 kilometers from the town. Crews are battling the fires on the ground and from above using water bombers and helicopters. This is one of 3 wildfires burning out of control in the province. Straight ahead, a high-speed nightmare with only fractions of a second to act. A terrifying close call for a driver on a highway in northern Ontario. It happened near Sudbury on the weekend and was all caught on dash cam. Watch as the driver heading the wrong way forces 2 drivers to swerve off the road into the dirt to avoid a collision. No one was hurt and police have been notified. A scary moment for a family's pet dog in the Philippines as a massive boulder rolled from the mountainside and onto the driveway. The black aspen survived, sprinting to safety seconds before the boulder crushed her metal cage. Video shows her emerging from behind the massive rock and darting across the road. A Calgary couple's wedding anniversary hike turned into a frightening face-to-face with a grizzly bear.
The bear initially was pretty, it just was following us, but it started getting a bit more aggressive.
What do we do? What if he charges? What do I do? And like my life actually did like flash.
The two admit they were not properly prepared and say they'll always carry bear spray when hiking from now on. Still ahead, the Blue Jays are flying high. Can the team bring home a new record? As the kids say, the Toronto Blue Jays are cooking, hosting the New York Yankees tonight at the Rogers Centre, setting a new record.
And this is hooked to left field, and it's into the corner.
The Blue Jays beat their division rivals 4-1, winning an 11th straight game on home turf, breaking a franchise record dating back 40 years. CTV's Rahim Ladani spoke to fans about the home hype.
They're going up against the Yankees today. Go Yankees! How's it been?
It's never really quiet when the New York Yankees are in town, but the Blue Jays are letting their bats do the talking this season. And fans from around the world are embracing the boys of summer.
It's been a good time here. The weather, it seems like Brazil.
Others have traveled from out west.
We came from Calgary.
And as far east as St. John, New Brunswick, to catch the first place Blue Jays in a pivotal matchup.
Coming from a small town down east, it's amazing, just amazing to walk in for the first time. I walked in and I was expecting it to be so huge, but it's a very just personal experience.
It's always fun to play in front of your home crowd. You know, you get the roof open, you get a packed house. Guys feed off of that too. I know some of our guys have said that. So hopefully we can keep it rolling.
The Yankees leave Canada dry.
Toronto's home winning streak started at the end of June when they swept the Yankees, who now sit 3 games behind the Jays.
Go Yankees!
Go Yankees!
It's why even New Yorkers know how important this upcoming series is.
I honestly thought we were coming here for a blowout. Disappointed at the situation, but we're coming back.
But Jays fans are wearing their belief on their sleeves, so to speak. Just ask Alan, who's been a season ticket holder since 1997.
I started getting all the players and coaches on my cast. Tonight I want to get Vladdy and Bo and hopefully John Schneider to sign my cast.
Rahim Ladani, CTV News.
That's it for us tonight. For all of us at CTV National News, thanks for watching. Have a good night.